when you leave this earth, you want everybody to remember, like, man, Cody Askins did this for the industry, right?
Correct.
Same thing for me. I want people to be able to go to my kids like, your dad created this product for every agent in the country.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Power Players Podcast. I got a special interview today. My good buddy, welcome back to the channel and the podcast from the Turnwald Group, Mr. Todd Turnwald.
Cody, what's going on, man?
Dude, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. About you?
I am good, man. You've been so busy, man. I've been excited to talk about just some new developments in your world. You know, I mean, as people like jump on and share, you've done a really good job over the past of really bringing value and trying to help people, whether they're with your group or not, you know. And I think that's something that's special about you. I want people to realize that as we're jumping out and kicking this off and interviewing Todd today, as you guys are watching and listening. Here's what I want you thinking about it. If you're in the audience and you're going to be watching and listening this, you know, tomorrow, the next day, whatever, I want you to be thinking about, how can I pick up a nugget that I can apply to my business and start to really explode and scale, right? Because Todd is done a lot, but he's also scaled some cool stuff along the way. Most people struggle with that piece. And I want you to be thinking about, as an agent or agency owner, what can you pick up from Todd today to help you really evolve and scale your company? Why have you always been so open? I want to talk about one cool thing about you've been custom building out a product. Before we get to that, why are you always so willing to help someone, whether they're with your group or not?
Well, you know what? I appreciate you asking that. And, you know, I love that I get this opportunity to talk to everybody because I know you have a huge audience. When I first got into this business, I had some guys who helped me that got no financial gain by helping me. And I remember one gentleman who took a call from me on New Year's Eve. And on New Year's Eve night, I was sitting right on my couch and I was getting nuggets from this guy, and he was sitting in a very good place financially. And I remember thinking, like, man, that guy right there, I will remember that guy for the rest of my life. I want to be like that. And I can factually say, just like you, Cody, like, I know what your mission is. And I think that's why you and I always got along so well, is you know what my mission is as well. Right. I just love the industry. I mean, let's just call it what it is. And I think, like, the more folks that I can help, I think maybe I found why I was put on this earth, you know, and I was given a skill set and able to help a lot of people. And I feel like once they have that conversation with me, they know, like, whether Todd's getting a financial gain or not, he cares about me.
That's right.
And that's what I want.
Yes. That's so good. I'm thinking, as we think through some of the stuff you've been doing, I know you've been really, really working on the custom build out of a new final expense product, right? Which,
yes, sir,
not a lot of people get. And I thought this was a cool conversation because not a lot of agents get to hear about how you actually custom build something out behind the scenes and how you can evolve. And, like, I think everybody out there would love, when they make a bunch of money and they're Todd Turnwald one day, they would love to, like, be able to do some of that and, like, kind of control a little bit of what's going on and what they're selling and how it's looking and how it can help other people, et cetera, et cetera. And you've had your hands in some of that and be able to be a part of those processes and those systems that a lot of people haven't yet. And so what was it like to finally get to do something like that when most people never do, number one, and then we'll get to some of the intricate details of what other people can learn and what you learned by doing that, you know?
Well, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you it was the highlight of my career to get that accomplished. This has been a 14-month project.
Wow.
So number one, getting the nod that, yes, you got approval, you can go ahead and start this process. And I'll be honest, you can call it whatever it is, but when I got a couple weeks ago, when I heard from the Compact States Department of Insurance that product got approved, I cried.
Mm. Mm.
It was literally, it was as emotional as I ever felt in this business because
Yes.
we put so much into it. And it wasn't just, I mean, there was a lot of people behind the scenes, but I I was extremely excited because like if you love the business just like yourself, you want to put your stamp on the industry.
That's
Like
right.
when you leave this earth, you want everybody to remember, like, man, Cody Askins did this for the industry, right? Same
Correct.
thing for me. I want people to be able to go to my kids like, your dad created this product for every agent in the country
Mm.
that anybody could have. Like he made such an impact on me, and like that was rewarding. It was by far the hardest thing I ever done in my life.
Hmm.
Not even close. And I've had my hands in some different things, but about
Yes.
extremely difficult. Mm-hmm.
And so you think through like, I mean, were you thinking about when you were building this, there were other like past clients and agents like coming into your brain as you're building this and you're thinking about it and you're like, well, I don't want to forget about them and how do I make it work for them? And well, maybe I shouldn't make it work for them. You know what I mean? Like, was all
No,
that?
I get it. Yeah, absolutely. I did have I did lean on some guys, pretty heavy. Once I got it to the point of, okay, I can at least get to the table,
Mm,
right? So once I knew I had the nod there, I did reach out to some guys, and I actually reached out to guys who really weren't a part of my agency. They were just guys I had
well,
a lot of respect for in the industry. So I knew I could trust them,
mm-hmm.
right? Because as far as they knew, this was mine, right? So they knew like, hey, we want to give advice to Todd because we like him, we want to see
Yeah.
him win, and we see what he's trying to do. So I thought that was really, really cool. Was there really guys who I didn't want involved? I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Sure.
I just knew, I have a very tight circle
Yep.
of people that I feel I can trust and collaborate with, and that's who I chose to go to work with, and it worked
Correct.
out. It worked out well.
Dude, I love it. It's so, yeah, it's were there clients that you thought about that you had
Oh,
sold different stuff to along the way before?
thousand percent, a
Yeah.
1,000%. And there was some things when I got into the space that I am now. There were some things that I saw in the last few years. I'm like, man, if we could do something here, this could be pretty special.
It's cool.
You know, because final expense, there shouldn't be. Um, it's a very liberal underwriting. Like
Yeah.
there shouldn't be 15 different questions and all this other stuff. Like these are smaller policies, 30,000 and less.
Yep.
So we wanted to keep it simplistic and where a lot of people can qualify for and get them the rates that they can afford, where everybody wins. But I'll tell you, Cody, and we talked about this a little bit. We're both sales guys, and I know
Yeah.
like when we were out in the field, when you're sitting there, you're wanting the highest commission and you're wanting the cheapest price,
That's right.
right? That's what you want as an agent. And what I found, and it doesn't matter what carrier we're talking about, I will never challenge an actuary ever, ever. And,
Yeah.
and I know all these companies have their actuaries that they have to go through, and the knowledge that these folks have, and the amount of details, as I'm sitting with them, because any product
Yes.
that's out there, and just like we talked earlier, it's as simple as looking at a three-legged stool, and it's got to be balanced. So the first thing you're looking at is risk for the
Mm,
company. The company's got to be able to make money. And if you're that agent out there thinking, well, give me the highest commission and the cheapest rate, well, guess what? There's a pretty good chance that carriers may not make it.
yeah.
Right. So
Exactly.
you got to take that into account. And I saw a whole different side of that aspect that I've never been privy to, but I'm so
Mm,
glad that I was able to now, because now when I'm talking to agents, I'm like, well, I can tell you exactly why it's priced that way. So that's a big part of the stool, but
What else?
two other parts. It's, your commissions. Agents have to be able to make good money. And honestly, one of the most important ones is the rates. It's got to be good for your clients. And when those three things balance out, you got yourself a product that is not built on sand, right?
Yeah.
And that's really what you want. When you like, the last thing you want to hear is, hey, that product is no longer available because the company is not making any money.
Well, yeah, that makes sense, because I've heard of a bunch of companies over the years that their risk was super high because they took everyone. Their comp was also very high, but that's also kind of could hurt them, and their rates were really cheap. Well, if you get the extreme of all three, it's going to get unbalanced, and somebody's going to tip over and fall.
100%. And I looked at it like this. Once I start getting in the weeds with these guys, they got to balance. And I feel, and my partners felt like we got the answer. Like, we've got it. So it is perfectly balanced, and it's a win for every part of that stool. So that's what's really exciting to me.
Yes, it's so exciting. Yeah. What else did you, as you think through this project, I'm curious, what did you not know that you know now? Like, what did you learn that you could share with the audience that because I don't even know. I've never designed my own insurance product. I have no freaking clue. Would I love to one day? Yeah, maybe so, right? That's a unique thing that everybody would love to sell their own product that they built, right? That's super cool. What did you learn that maybe the rest of us don't know yet?
Well, what I learned was a couple things. When you're working like with the Department of Insurance, you're on their time. Like, when we first start talking about this, I felt like, well, hey, let's design a product. Let's put the app together, and voila, that should be ready in a week.
Yeah.
Right. 14 months.
Gosh.
And 14 months. And here's what else. Look, like every Friday evening, I was either on the phone with compliance, actuaries, every Friday evening, usually between 4 and 6. Here's why. Like, these people have other things to do. Like, it's not just my show that they were working on. And hey, we got to keep this ball moving. So I can remember, like, all during the winter, my son plays basketball, every Friday. Like, I'm walking into games and, where I can't go in the gym. Like, I got, like, these calls were that important. And I knew I had this block of time to talk to these folks, and that's it.
That's good, man. That's good.
Just thinking like, well, can anybody, I'm assuming, yeah, you could do it, but you better know. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, because you bring up a really good point, right? I want you to throw back to you is, I want people to think about that right now. Like, in your business, if you want something bad enough, like Todd did, would you follow up every Friday night between 4 and 6 for 14 months? Right? Like, dude, you followed up 60 weeks in a row, right? Think about the math.
And that's
crazy.
That's fact. I actually flew down to Georgia, and I took everybody out to eat, just in appreciation, because you want to talk about follow-up, and we've learned a lot from the same guy. There was a time I spent a lot of time with Coach Burt, and the art of the follow-up. Dude, a lot of that went into play. I mean, that whole system really did, because I knew if I came to them every week, of like going for the jugular, like I'm gonna upset some people. Yes. Right. So there was a lot of ebb and flow, and I'll be honest, like, there was multiple times where they were frustrated. I was frustrated. Yep. And it could have been so easy a couple times to just, hey, you know what? Let's just give in, and whatever they say will work. Let's do that. And looking back on it now, I've got zero patience. And to look that I went through all of that, I will say, I'm going to actually pat myself on the back, because you talk about persistence and follow up. Yeah. I didn't cheat anything there.
That's awesome.
Like, emails every day. It does. And I think that's why I got so emotional when when we got the stamp of approval, because the
Huge.
Department of Insurance, they don't mess around. They're not going to pass a product just because, oh, hey, I really like Todd, or I really like so-and-so. Don't work that way.
Man.
Right. So
Was there
there
ever
was
a
a
time where you
lot.
were
Yeah.
was there ever a time where you were disappointed and you were like thinking about just throwing in the towel?
Oh my gosh. 1,000%. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, so mad, and like, why aren't people like getting back to me? Like, I need this, I need it. Well, Cody,
Yes.
I'm always cautious. There's two things you're always cautious with when you're talking to a crowd, is politics and religion.
Wow.
But something came across to me, and it's actually from a guy I'm working with pretty close. And he was like, you know what? This is God's timing.
Mm,
When the timing is there, it's going to come through. And he goes, you just got to trust God's timing.
that's good.
And and I listen, and then pretty soon it's like, hey, I'm listening, God's timing. But let's get on Todd's timing here a little bit too, But
Yes.
in
Yes.
all seriousness, like, that really rang in my ears. And when that hit, and then a couple other things kind of like morphed together, I'm like,
Yeah.
100% right.
So
Like,
good.
so, like, if you're trying to always force everything, like you're forcing your hand, my suggest take a step back, and like, if you're forcing too much and it's not fitting,
Yeah.
take a step back and evaluate, not say give up, but
Yes.
how can we go about this differently? So,
That's right.
oh man, I mean, frustration, yes. Wanting to quit, yes. All of the above. And that's why I'm saying, like, it was the hardest project. It sounds so easy.
Yeah.
It sounds so easy. But when you're getting so detailed of like a 57-year-old female smoking, this won't work. This, like, what? Like, are we really talking about a 57? Why 57 or 56? Like, and that's
Mm,
actuary. That is actuaries. Like, if that
that's
number don't
nuts.
work, it is.
It's
And that's
just nuts
fact.
to think about the details of that. Well, I want to give you credit, man. Like,
Thank you.
and everybody can learn from this experience. Like, you're not giving up, you're pushing, you're having to not always push the gas down too hard, or you'll like, push people out of the car. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's a testament to you and your leadership and your ability to never give up and to keep pushing and to manage different personalities, and communication needs to be different at times. Like, it's just, that just takes an intelligence that I want our audience to recognize and really also try to be better in our own right about that. I'd love for you to take a few minutes and share more. We haven't done this much yet, is share more about the actual product and
Yep.
how others can learn more about it. So take a few minutes and share and do that.
Well, I appreciate you allowing me to do that, because I know the mission of the call. But I think this is definitely, if it wasn't so beneficial for everybody, we
Yeah.
wouldn't be doing this. But the product is called Platinum Solution. It is not a captive product.
Mm,
Okay, so you do not have to. You're not going to be captive here. If you have other carriers, it's fine. Like, we designed this so anybody could use it, right? So it's a very liberal. I think there's 8. Well, I know there's 8 health questions.
mm.
Um, it's a levelized commission. It has the highest residual in the final expense industry right now.
Wow.
So the highest. So it's paid out level over the course of 6 years. And Cody, we had done that because, and this is somebody can fact check me, and if they say I'm wrong, I'm okay with it. But what the verbiage I got back was Medicare Advantage stays on the books on average between 5.4 and 5.6 years.
Mm.
That's what the knowledge was given to me. So I went with that when I built this. So we wanted a 6-year. I thought, there's a lot of final expense people getting into Medicare, which I think is great. But it's for the residual. Like,
Yes.
well, what about those folks who don't want to get into Medicare? They don't want to do AHIP. They don't want to do certs. They don't want to. It's a different game. Not everybody's going to want to do that. So let's build a residual play in there. Keep it very simple, very simplistic application, 1-page app, 8 health questions,
Cool.
qualify yes or no, and a level commission that is similar to a Medicare level of payout.
Yes.
Over 6 years, and it's the same for 6 straight years.
Mm.
Okay. And if there's a manager that has getting overrides, some people know how Medicare overrides work. Some don't matter, but this is level throughout 6 years also. So
Cool.
when you do the math actually, you make more, but it's paid out over the course of 6 years. And we've done that because we want people to start building up their residual income. I think that's so important. You got to start building some passive money. So that's
no doubt.
That's about the product. We have a landing page we can send out. On that landing page, it's very simplistic. It will have the rates. It'll have the commissions, how to contract, a video about the product, the underwriting, height weight chart. It's got everything.
How can they reach out to you to get more info about that too?
You know what I would do right now is just email me at toddsrlife@gmail.com. You can also on Instagram message me, Todd Turnwald USP. So email or Instagram. I made kind of a mistake giving out my number last time, and I got a lot of not insurance related. So learned my lesson there. But please, like if you're in the business and you want to talk through it, that's why we've done it. But we want to make it so it's simple. Here's a landing page. Here's how you contract. Here's how you roll out. There's no you're not signing off like, oh, I can't write any other. It's not that.
Yeah.
Cool. So what our thought process, Cody, real quick is, it's for everybody. So a new agent, they need some of that upfront money. So if they write 4 or 5 of these a month, or 3 to 4 even, say 25% of their business, where they're building that back end, but they're still writing their other stuff. Great. You've got that person that's a pretty solid producer, but they're not building much on the back end.
That's good.
There you go. Add a little bit more, because when you go into your second year, you're going to get paid, the same amount.
Yes.
And then like your agency leaders, we can talk a little bit about that later, but you're in a position there where you're making some money on overrides or whatever it is, and build that passive money up.
It's good,
right? So, yeah,
dude, I love it, man. Well, I appreciate you sharing this today. This has been fun, man. Is there anything we haven't that you would like to?
Some things that I'm seeing a little bit in the industry, and I think, we like last time we talked a little bit about systems, and I think a lot of that's important. How to sell, how to door knock, how to set appointments, how to close referrals. One thing that maybe we haven't touched on a whole lot is those folks that are just getting into that stage of wanting to build an agency.
Yes.
Right. And I'm all for that. I've done it. And anybody that wants to do it, I want them to do it. And I don't care what carrier that is, regardless what company, don't care. Some of the conversations that I'm having here recently, and it doesn't matter with who, where they're starting to build rather quickly, and their production as a group is pretty solid. I think if somebody's doing around $200,000-300,000 a month, they're on the right track. Right? They're on the right track. But what I'm seeing is a lot of these people aren't quite ready yet financially.
Yep.
And my suggestion to the people that are at that stage, or maybe are in the stage of, well, I'm here, I'm not quite making the money that I thought I was going to be, get your house in order first. And that's where build that passive money up. And that may sound like a pitch for this, but I don't really care maybe it's Medicare. So let's keep the pitch out. Build something residually.
Yep.
Build it residually where you're covering your expenses, your household expenses, and maybe a little bit more, and then start building. Right.
Yes.
So don't build too soon. Like, it's okay to get a couple, but do it. Make sure that you're set financially. And if you're out trying to produce a huge agency and you're having to produce a whole bunch to pay your bills, and a lot of that is not passive, it's all upfront. I think you're putting yourself at a big risk. And that may not be real popular to hear.
Sure.
But, I'm just trying to be real. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's where you and I are at. Like, sometimes what we say is not real popular, but our hearts are in the right spot.
Right.
Right.
That's all that matters. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really believe that. And
I
I think that's why some people are starting to get into the Medicare space more, to
Yes.
build that residual income up. And that's where the light bulb went off, because there's some, like, I don't mess a whole lot with Medicare. I'm a final expense guy. And I know there's other guys out like me, like they got, they're like the Tasmanian devil out there in the Medicare. I love it. And I've got partners doing it.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit slower, and there's more to know, but I still think it's a beautiful thing. So anybody that's wanting to get into that, do it.
Yep. I love it, man. Well, dude, thank you for sharing your time and insights. Congratulations on getting to build out your own product. Like, how freaking amazing, man. So congrats. And thank you for being on another episode, and appreciate you being on the podcast.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Cody.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. Okay. For those listening, man, thank you for listening. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and continue hanging out with us for our next interview. We'll see you next time.
Hey, if you enjoyed this, I got another one you're going to love. It's right there. Click on it. See you.